Merry Christmas, Isaiah. I know that you wanted to learn how to make sourdough bread. It's a little more complicated. There's some more steps involved. So I'm going to wait until you learn how to make just regular yeast bread before I move on to showing you how to use the sourdough starter. For this first bread, it's really simple. I saw this recipe online on YouTube. It's fast. It probably has like a 4-hour turnaround time, and you'll have a nice loaf of bread. First thing, you're going to need your Danish dough whisk that I sent you, one of your big mixing bowls, 3 cups of flour. Now make sure that before you measure the flour, you kind of fluff it up a little bit. You don't want it packed down because you're not going to get a true measurement. You need 1.5 cups of hot water. So normally you're going to use room temperature water, but in this case, you want 1.5 cups of hot water. You don't want it boiling. I think the recipe said 130 degrees max, but if you turn your faucet on hot, just feel it. As long as it's not scalding you, I think you'll be fine. You need your measuring spoons. You can use your dough scraper. That works well. You're going to need the yeast that you have and the salt. And you'll need your Dutch oven, but you'll need that later on. Okay, now it's time to mix up the ingredients. This is really, really simple. You're going to take your flour, throw that in the bowl. You're going to take 1/4 teaspoon of your yeast. It's a really small amount of yeast. And you throw that right in the bowl. And then you need 1 teaspoon of salt. And level that off, and throw that in the bowl. And then mix these ingredients up a little bit. These are just the dry ingredients. Alright, now we're going to add the water. That's a you could use a mixing spoon. So we're mixing this so it looks kind of loose and kind of a shaggy dough. You don't have to mix it too much. I like to get some off the sides, so I use the dough scraper. Alright, so you have just kind of a pretty loose, lumpy looking dough. You don't have to do anything else with it. This is a no-knead recipe. So you have it like this. Now you just need to cover it with saran wrap over the top just to keep the dough from drying out. So I have scraps of saran wrap that I use for this. Set this aside and we'll come back and see how it looks in a few hours. Okay. After about 3 hours of proving your bread, the first thing you want to do is take your cast iron Dutch oven that you have. This needs to go in the oven at 450 degrees. Turn the oven on and leave it on. That's going to take about 1/2 hour, 45 minutes. You just need to leave the empty Dutch oven in your oven, 450 degrees. Okay, so now while your Dutch oven is preheating in the oven, this is what our bread looks like. And the first thing you want to do is take some flour, kind of sprinkle a handful of flour on your countertop or wherever you're working. Take your dough scraper, and you can kind of scrape it out of the pan onto that floured surface. Then take a little flour, just a little bit. Kind of can flour your dough scraper a little bit and shape this into a little bit of a ball, kind of tucking the bottom underneath. So you're just going to kind of scoop it up like that. And then take take the same bowl that you had in it, and then take some of your parchment paper. Take a piece of parchment paper, pretty good size. Rip that off. Put that inside the bowl. And then take your dough and drop it right into the middle of that parchment paper so it looks something like that. While you're waiting, cover the top of this with a dishcloth. Okay, so I've got the hot Dutch oven, and we're going to put the bread that's now been sitting while this is heating up inside here. So we're going to take the lid off of here. I'm going to stick this aside. And we're going to take the dough that's been sitting in the parchment paper, and all you're going to do is just kind of grab up the edges and place that right inside the Dutch oven, paper and all. Just like that. And then place the top back on, and it doesn't matter, there's going to be paper sticking out. Put the top back on just like that. And then you're going to put this in the oven 1/2 hour, so 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, I'm going to take the lid off, and you see you have nice little bread. So what you want to do is you want to take this out, take the paper off, place this back into the Dutch oven, and leave it open. So don't put the cover back on, and put it back in the oven for about 15 minutes. You could do it a little bit longer if you wanted it browner, but 15 minutes should do it at the same 450 degrees. And here you have it. About 15 minutes later. We have a nice crunchy loaf, kind of like I know you like, and so this should be easy. All in all, I mean, the whole process really only takes about 10 minutes. The rest is just waiting time. So I hope that was easy enough. Give it a shot. Make sure you let it cool after it cooks, and enjoy. It's not a hard process. If you get stuck, just give your dad a call.